So sometimes, guys, our friends leave us to do things without us. And sometimes it kind of hurts our feelings.
Shanee.
Sometimes we expect to see them every week, but we don't. But that's okay, because this time we've got Alberto Aranda on the Save Continue podcast,
Yep.
where every
Hello.
week we talk about video games related topics and hang out with our buds. Tom, how have you been this week?
Pretty good. Real tired of work, but played a lot of Saints Row the Third.
Fantastic game.
Yep. And you and I played some Super Hot,
Yeah, that was.
and I finished that up today.
Yeah,
That's a lot of fun.
that's a really fun game. I like it.
And then I realized, okay, so there's two things. One, if I talk to you about these Steam trading cards,
I mean, you haven't talked to me about them. You've shown them. to
I'm
me.
like horribly hooked on them.
Okay,
Okay.
I was wondering why you were trying to trade me, and I was like, I don't
Oh,
don't
you
know.
didn't
if
accept
they're
my
worth-
trade?
No.
Accept my trade. I'm not trying to trade you for a trading card. I'm trying to trade you to finish out my community leadership badge.
Because I
'Cause
don't.
that's the last one I need.
Because I know that there's like in-game or in-Steam items that are worth money, so I was like,
Right.
I don't know the value of these, so I was like, what
No,
if
there's no,
he's-
like, it's probably worth like 10 cents.
I was like, what if he's trying? Like, what if I have a rare one and I
I
don't even
wouldn't
know?
do that to you. I wouldn't do that to you. You can look at the marketplace, see that it's
I
worth
know,
probably
but-
8 cents, all right?
You got me in the middle of a game. I was
Wait,
like,
so there's a marketplace that you can just buy them?
Yeah.
Yes, and I've been buying them.
Like 10 cents a pop?
Yeah, 8
Yeah,
cents
they're-
here, 10 cents there.
A lot of stuff is cheap.
Because when you finish the set, you see you get emoticons and you get backgrounds for your profile and coupons for other games. I finished one the other day. They just gave me a game. They just gave me a free game.
Huh.
I guess it wasn't free because I paid for one of the trading cards.
But
But it was like about 10 cents for a game, you know?
had you just gotten, received the card
Yeah.
through gameplay or whatever,
Yeah.
then it would have been a free game. Tom, are there like booster packs?
No, it's like you get random drops while playing games.
Yeah.
But there's only a certain amount. Like after like 2 or 3, that's all the random drops you can get.
Sure.
Um,
We got one for Super Hot last night.
yeah. So I'm hooked on that, like real bad.
Yeah.
And then I also realized that since the beginning of this year, I've bought probably around 60 games. And, like I really have to slow down.
That's a lot of games.
So I'm not playing anywhere near all of them.
Yeah.
You know.
But also, you're getting them really cheap.
I'm
now.
getting like humble bundles and stuff
Yeah.
like that, but like still,
It's
that's
a lot of games.
that's
Yeah.
too many games to be buying.
So, do you have an itinerary set up?
No, I've got too much. I've got no self-control when it comes
we
to
talked
a
about your-
lot of things,
Yeah, we talked about your impulse control.
and now it's just like, yeah,
No,
it's not good.
It's not terrible. I mean, I was like that with
Dude,
Hearthstone.
we're in May. It's only May.
Well, I'm saying I can relate because
Yeah.
with Hearthstone, like I got into that game way late,
Yeah,
so every paycheck, like I would buy like 60, 70 packs.
but you kind of have to, right?
You don't, because
You don't, but,
the
like-
way they have it structured, like if you're a free-to-play player,
Yeah.
they try to match you up with other free-to-play players.
Okay.
So you're not that far behind the
Got
curve.
it. Got it. Got it.
But
I don't know.
I wanted to play
I was in that
fun
same boat
decks.
too, though. Like every paycheck I would buy quite a few packs.
Yeah.
And or one of those single player campaigns.
That's the other thing. I spent a lot of like not Hearthstone, but Magic the Gathering. Like on Steam, I'm buying shit on that all the time. And
Yeah.
There's a Magic game on Steam?
yeah.
Yeah. At
I'm
least you
not
don't got to
even
worry
gonna touch
about
that 'cause
card
that'll go
backs or
back.
nothing.
It's Magic. It's just on your computer, you know. But yeah, you buy booster packs and all that shit, and you can buy fucking card sleeves, even though they're not physical cards.
Yeah.
And I'm
Can
buying
you
them.
trade them?
You know.
Can you trade them
Oh,
on
yeah.
I don't
Magic?
know.
That'd be really cool.
I don't know. I would imagine you can,
They
but I'm
should
not
set up a
positive.
marketplace on that.
Because that's
Yeah.
the big beef with Hearthstone players is
Is
like,
that you can't?
yeah, so all your
Yeah.
double stuff goes into what they call crafting cards, but
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not worth
That's a good
shit.
question. I haven't looked into that.
Yeah, they should really do that. Berto, what have you been up to since we saw you last?
A lot of PUBG.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my game right now.
That's PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds for those of you who are uninitiated.
Looks awesome.
Yeah. I've done nothing but watch people play that game, so I've never actually played it myself. Tom and I were watching you play last night. We bet on your life.
Yeah, Ryan was like, I want to start placing bets on video game stuff. I was like, well, let's do it right now.
No, I was just saying that I think that game specifically would be really fun to bet on. But at the same time, there aren't any. I don't know. I don't know enough about that game to say are there stats that you could view of other players to know how successful they are?
Yes. Well, with your friends, you can go to your friends and you can see
Right.
their stats. You can see their KD, how much they've won, their total games. It'll even tell you like your percentage of
Yeah.
the games you've won. Like, I think the most I've won is in squad. That's what I play mostly, and I think
Yeah.
my win percentage is at 7%, and with like 60 something games in.
Yeah.
So not bad. Granted, I play with one of the top 100 players
Wow.
in solo. So
The other just last night, you made it to top 4 before you got wiped out.
And then you were disappointed
Yeah, I
in
didn't get
getting
that.
4th.
I didn't get that.
because I want to win.
I would have been
Well,
psyched
yeah,
if I
for
got
sure.
4th.
But like, think about it this way:
Out of 100 people?
yeah, if you,
You know?
if you were playing a tournament or something, you would have won some money.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I mean, not chicken dinner money, but you would have won some money.
I'm go for the gold or not,
Okay.
and so
Okay, I respect it.
Yeah.
I've only won twice in solo, so I wanted to get that up.
Oh, you
higher.
won in solo by yourself? You won?
Yeah, I've won twice.
That's awesome.
That is really awesome.
I bet that feels good.
Yeah, well, the first time I won was like my 3rd game,
Yeah.
and so I was talking shit to my friends. I was like, "This game's not hard. It only
Yeah,
took me
yeah,
3
yeah.
games." Yeah, and it's not that. I just got really lucky.
It does look really awesome, though. And I was talking to Ryan about it. I was like, I don't see any reason why that game couldn't work on console.
Yeah. But from what I understand, that is a heavy consideration. So
Yeah.
I mean, we'll see if it actually happens. But to Tom's point last night, I think that if they did put that, on PS4, that game would take off.
Yeah,
on
well,
consoles, I
they've already
should say.
sold 2 million
Yeah.
copies.
Yeah. I mean,
so,
In early access,
yeah,
yeah.
not to say that the game isn't already really popular and
Mhm.
a lot of people are playing it, but I think that game would very quickly find a player base on
Well,
the
if,
consoles
if you look
too.
at PlayStation 4 is right around 50 million sold now, and like the sales for Ark on PS4 are pretty good. Like the attach rate for that game on PS4 are pretty fucking good.
Right.
And I think that this would do much better than Ark,
Yeah.
because Ark is not a easy game to get into.
Yeah.
how often do they update on PS4? Do you know?
I do not know.
Because this game, granted, it's still like brand new. I
Yeah.
want to say it's maybe 3 months now at this
Yeah.
point. But they've released a patch, like a hot fix every week to
Yeah.
fix, the little stuff, and then they do a big monthly update.
So
And they're about to add new maps.
updates on PlayStation happen every Tuesday.
Mhm.
But as far as like when a developer updates their game, do they have to wait till Tuesday? I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah. But the following for first person shooters and shooters of any kind on console is it's pretty high up there, and I really think that people would be into that game. Now, I was watching you play that game last night, and I was getting stressed out watching you. I can't imagine actually playing the game.
That's what I really like about this game, because I mean, I played competitive shooters and everything, and like I guess I played them so long that it's still fun to win, but there's not like a big thrill. Like at the end, the first couple times I've won PUBG, like my hands were shaking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when you're in like a field and you don't know where the other person is, and you're just
Well, and that's a lot of people
Stressing.
too.
And the anxiety goes up the more the more that player count drops
oh yeah.
during the match.
And then it gets smaller and smaller, and
Yeah.
it's
How many
very-
players were in MAG?
I want to say
Like 80, 70?
I think it was maybe I want to say they were boasting 100. But
Were they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
mean, significantly different game. Just,
Sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was, watching that game, and one of the things I was talking about before the show was there's something really cool about a lot of the atmosphere of that game, especially with something about, sound is a huge part of that game.
Yes.
And every sound means something in that game, and it was really, really cool hearing the gunshots in the distance, and then seeing like seeing the kill feed, and then seeing that player number go down. And whenever you'd go into a house, like I was like, listening for footsteps, like I gotta warn Berto, like hear somebody. But yeah, it's a really cool looking game. I don't know that I would definitely try it, but I think that game would stress me out too much.
I think you'd get into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You said though that you're kind of an all or nothing kind of guy. If you weren't any good at this game, or I should say, are you the kind of person that if you aren't getting good at a game and you don't feel like your skill level is progressing, or will you keep playing it just because you're having fun, or if like is it not fun unless you're getting better?
No, I'd keep playing it. I play with a lot of my friends that I grew up with, so I mean, even if I was terrible at this game, which my skill level compared to theirs is a lot lower,
but you're spending time with them.
Yeah, and it's I mean, we're making montages because they're about to open up a cyber cafe of just like clips, and like it's just like stupid shit. Like you roll the car and all of us die, and we'd be like the last 10 people there. It's like, fuck.
A cyber cafe of clips?
No, it's like a cyber cafe. They're gonna have computers for people to come use,
right,
high-end gaming PCs. But
that's cool.
I can play
in San Antonio, Texas.
Yes.
Cool.
I haven't seen a cyber cafe in a while, but then again, I haven't been looking for one. But
I'll give you all an update once it opens and stuff. They just got a location right now.
When I was in Dublin, there was still internet cafes, like where people would just go so they could use the internet.
Yeah.
Damn.
It was interesting.
There was a cyber cafe right up the street from here called Woots. And then it got turned into a Chinese restaurant.
And they just kept the same name.
They didn't. It just became Woots Chinese Restaurant, and that was actually kind of funny. Yeah. So
I want to play PUBG with Tommy.
I'm gonna get there. Yeah. All right. Maybe if I stop buying fucking 60 games, I can buy that one.
I might just buy it for you.
But
that would be sweet.
Well, then you're gonna have to play with Melt because I'm supposed to play with her too.
That's fine. I don't mind playing with her. Like I said, like a lot of that game, or at least for me, is the memories. Like you make a lot of silly shit happens.
Yeah.
I'm telling this guy he needs to make a PC already.
Yes.
Or buy one.
Join us.
I'd like to. Man, I haven't owned a gaming PC in.
You got a promotion not too long ago.
You did?
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, look, I hate to say it. Like, I'm a huge PlayStation dork. I love PlayStation. I know way too much about it. But man, I've barely touched it since I've been playing these PC games.
Sure, because I look at because the last time I actually looked at Steam, like as a user of Steam, was it has to have been at least 7 or 8 years ago.
Yeah.
And now every time I'm over here, Tom and I will go through the store and just look at stuff, and I'm like, there's so much choice.
Well, what's funny is like the majority of what I'm playing is old shit, like 7th generation
but
shit.
That's kind of a cool thing too. Like games that you didn't have access to before.
It's easier to access,
that you can now play.
Don't get me wrong. I mean, you've heard my complaints. I definitely have my issues with PC gaming.
Yeah.
But I've barely touched my PlayStation.
Yeah, but I look at the store on Steam versus the store on either Xbox or PlayStation.
Yeah.
And I see it's like there's so much variety.
There's so much more good games and also so much more shit games.
Yeah.
Like it goes both ways for sure.
So have you been having have you gotten to the point where at some point you have bought a shit game? Because I feel like that's such a
but not
difficult
like
minefield.
I mean, typically, like you said, in a humble bundle, they're not all golden, you know. Or like with the trading cards, the free game I got off of that was not a great game.
Yeah.
You know, but
because I with all that choice, I have to wonder like, how do you make the decisions? Of like how do you decide? What?
There's no moderation, man.
Yeah.
And there seems to be a lack of moderation on PSN and fucking Xbox Live as well.
Yeah.
Like. There needs to be more people saying, "Hey, this game is not good. We should not be selling it."
Well, Steam's pretty good about like their rating system. Anytime that I've seen a game that's like iffy, like I read the comments.
I mean, I think Steam reviews are kind of flawed in a way, but I do think like as far as Steam Greenlight goes, like that, that works out well. But
I don't know.
You buy more games than I do. I'm very picky. Like I'm a 1 to 3. I play maybe 3 games at one time.
Yeah.
And usually those 2 are back burners and 1 is my.
But you'll put a lot more time into one game than I will.
That is very true.
Yeah, because Tom, I think that you very much just like the act of buying games.
Oh, I do totally. Yeah. I like the fact that like across
fix from that?
PlayStation 4, PC, Switch, Vita, like on all of those, I've got more games than I could ever really want and
Yeah.
play, and like if I'm broke, I still always have a new game to play.
Yeah,
You know?
that's kind of the thing too. Is just the act of buying the game, and also just that feeling of I just got a new game. It's just something about it.
Like I literally
yeah.
always have a new game.
Yeah.
You know,
You'll never be without a new game.
I mean, I could play a new game every day for the next couple years, probably.
Yeah.
You know, between all those consoles, I could probably play a new game for the next couple years.
Yeah. I think that I was kind of a lot of my video game collection just comes from years of every payday I go out and buy a game. I don't.
Well, you were much more into physical, like I used to be.
Yeah.
You know, but now like digital is so easy. I don't even have to leave the house to like buy fucking 10 games, and it's ridiculous. You
Yeah.
know.
Well, over for the past couple of major releases, I kind of just went digital with them.
Not to mention, like, there's Humble subscription now, and then PlayStation Gold gives you free games every month, and like, so all the free stuff as well.
Yeah.
You know.
There's
Yes.
no end to it.
Yeah.
So I've kind of had that feeling with games that I already owned. So
I mean, you own a lot of games.
yeah. Well, with I get that feeling a lot with games that I bought a while back but didn't really give a lot of time to. Like I bought Alan Wake like maybe 5 years out of maybe 5 or 6 years after the game actually came out.
Right.
That was back when you and I were living together, and like we played it for maybe an hour, and then I kind of didn't touch it after that. And then them announcing that Alan Wake was going to be taken out of
Delisted, yeah.
just when they announced it was going to be delisted, I was just like that kind of reignited my interest in the game.
Yeah.
I kind of just forgot about
It's
it.
a fantastic game.
Yeah, and so I bought the physical version of the game at a used for like maybe $5, and because I was on this kick of like every couple weeks I would go and buy last gen games just because I could just get a bunch of them really cheap.
Yeah.
And I happened to buy Alan Wake because I guess I had never played it, and I had always heard things about it.
Well, and see, that's the other thing. Like, with it being delisted, I not only bought it for myself, but then I'm buying it for my friends because, like, well, they have to play this, and they're not going to
Sure.
be able to buy it, so I got to buy
Yeah.
it for them, you know?
Sure. And then so the 2 pieces of DLC, what were they called?
The Signal and the Writer.
Yeah, so the 2 pieces of DLC, they were on Xbox anyway. They were just kind of just giving them away.
Yeah.
So I got them both for free, and I already had the disc, and with backwards compatibility, I kind of just popped the disc in, and I was ready to go. And I'm playing the game, and I started over because I just
Sure.
I
Yeah.
didn't remember where I was.
It's been a couple years. Yeah.
Yeah, and that game is a couple weeks ago, Tom was talking about games aging. And the game still looks pretty good, but it
won't for much longer.
yeah, and it's already showing its age. But even still though, the game does still look really good.
Everything looks good except for character models.
Yeah, like Alan always looks like he just smelled a fart.
Yeah.
But the game, like the actual combat and the moving around, like it still feels solid. And so I've been kind of playing that, and as I mentioned on Check It Out, I've been playing a lot of roguelikes lately. So I've just been revisiting things that I've already bought.
Yeah.
And when you don't give a lot of time to a game, like when you first buy it and then you go back into it and play it again, it's kind of just like you just feel like you got a new game again, you know?
Yeah.
And like just re-downloading things that I hadn't played in a while. So it's been a fun couple of weeks for me.
Have y'all ever gone back to like a game that you had like really fond memory of and then played it again and it was just shit?
Oh, yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember.
Not anything from like the 7th generation, but I feel like that was too recent, you know?
Sure.
Like we remember those games pretty well still, but like, you know, going back to like GameCube or like N64 or stuff like that,
Hard.
original PlayStation, like a lot of that stuff does not age well. We went to Game Over and I bought Duke Nukem: A Time to Kill because I loved that game as a kid.
Yeah. Like, it just doesn't.
And it does
hold
not.
up
It is
at all.
not good
There's
anymore.
one game when the PlayStation 2 first came out, my neighbor got one and there was a mech game. And like I thought it was the coolest fucking thing because I was like a huge Gundam fan.
Yeah.
And I can't remember the name of the game and I kind of want to go back and
Was
play.
it Armored Core?
No, it wasn't
Zone of
Armored
the
Core.
Enders.
Yes, Zone of Enders. And
That game is badass.
I remember it being like the coolest fucking thing. And
Didn't
I'm
hold up
so
for you?
Well, I haven't gone back. I'm
Okay.
scared to.
They released the HD version on PlayStation 3, but I don't know anything about it though.
Yeah.
I just remember seeing it because I had played regular PlayStation and
Yeah.
N64 at the time, and I remember seeing that and just blowing my little mind. I was just like, "Holy shit! This
Now
looks
the third
realistic."
most well-known Kojima game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic game. I actually have both Zone of the Enders games on PS2. I didn't buy the HD version because I was like, why?
But have you ever built a Gundam, like the models?
Yeah, I never got to paint it because when I was like a kid.
But don't most of them come like kind of pre-painted and you can just add detail?
The ones that I got, no, they had
Okay.
stickers, but the stickers
Yeah,
kind of look like
kinda
shit.
suck, yeah.
Yeah.
And I got my favorite one, and I wanted to paint it so bad, and I just like never did. I was like
Yeah.
13.
No.
There's this group of streamers I've been watching, and they've been, like, along with games, they've been streaming them building their Gundams and all that.
See, that'd be cool. Like I think I still have it somewhere. It's probably in a box. I wouldn't mind going back, getting like a good paint set, and like trying
Yeah.
to paint it.
That just seems so fucking.
It'd be nerve wracking.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work for sure, but
Yeah.
like I'd imagine it's pretty satisfying. Because
Sure.
like
Yeah.
I've done like model cars when I was a kid, and like
Yeah.
I was always
You gotta get
fun.
one of those fucking magnifying glasses and.
A
probably-
jeweler's eye.
Yeah.
I've customized shoes before, so I'm like, okay, like
Yeah.
if I can do that, then I should be somewhat okay.
If you could do something that people are going to wear,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
then yeah, I think it'd be
Well,
alright.
I mean, everything that I've done is like to my own shoes. I've never
Yeah.
like done. it
I've
for
actually
somebody
never
else.
built a model of any kind. Now that I think about it.
Well, Shanae bought you that dog thing.
Yeah, I never got around to that.
Shame on you.
Mm.
She put a lot of thought and effort into that gift.
She did actually.
I was there.
Yeah.
Mm.
She was stressing.
Yeah. I mean, I totally built it.
Mm.
And then I put it back in its original packaging. So I was actually wondering, you guys, because I was thinking about this recently. I was thinking about my time with my first run through of Splinter Cell Conviction.
Good game.
I played that game when it came out back in 2010, and I absolutely love that game. It's, in my opinion, the best in the series.
It's the first game I remember where they overlaid text into the environment.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now you see that all the time now.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I like it because it's a fast-paced stealth action game.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the time when I play stealth games, it's like, for me anyway, I don't know how most people play their stealth games, but a lot of time I'm like, it's a very slow, deliberate thing 'cause I just don't want to be seen.
Yeah.
Where with Splinter Cell, with Conviction, I'm just going from guy to guy, like just doing takedowns, and and I remember finishing that game, and immediately after finishing the game, starting the game right over. I was wondering, did either of you guys ever have a game like that where you beat it and then you just immediately started it over again?
The first Dark Souls.
Okay.
Because I mean, Dark Souls games have multiple endings, so I wanted to do that. And then I never played Dark Souls 2, but I'm 1 and 3. I 100%ed both of those games.
Yeah.
Only games that
I saw your in-game clock for those on Steam. It was just like ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, how many days have you played Dark Souls?
Try weeks.
I think on 3 I have like 400 plus hours.
Yeah.
And then on 1 I
It
played
was
it
absurd.
Yeah.
on Dark Souls 1 I played it on Xbox 360, so I don't have that time clock, but
Yeah.
I'm sure it was around the same.
See the thing about Dark Souls is that you got the new game plus, so there's that immediate incentive to just jump right back in, right?
Yeah. 'Cause I think I'm on 8 on one of my characters in Dark
Yeah.
Souls 3.
There's just that immediate incentive to go back in. You got your character progression already,
Yeah.
and you're starting over, but at the same time you're not.
Yeah, because you're already geared out. You
Yeah.
know how everything works.
And it scales. I feel like the scaling is slight.
Yeah.
I
would say, well, at least in I can't remember.
Or at least
on 1.
maybe it feels that way because you're geared
yeah.
up. But
Once you get to like 4 or 5, at least in 3, you have to start being really careful about your rolls and stuff because
yeah,
a couple hits will kill you.
sure.
I mean, for me, it's mostly retro games because when I was a kid, I would get a handful of games to last me the whole year.
Right.
So like Faxanadu and like Guerrilla War, like those old school games, yeah, I'd play them back to back over and over and over again because that's all I had.
Yeah.
You know.
Do you feel any compulsion to do that currently?
Sometimes. I mean, there's certain games that like I will only play once.
Yeah.
Like if it's a very good story and like there is a sense of player agency to the game, I'll play it one time.
Sure.
And that's my canon playthrough, and I won't touch it again.
Right.
You know, like a lot of the Telltale stuff and stuff like that. Even like lesser, like still story driven, but not as much choice like The Last of Us. I'll probably never touch The Last of Us again.
Right.
I'll probably never touch BioShock again.
Right.
But
I actually just went back to BioShock 1 because I got the HD version for free.
Yeah, I got that bundle as well, but I had never played Infinite, so I played Infinite, and that was about it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's the thing too with game, like especially like the Telltale games.
Yeah.
I went through The Walking Dead season 1 that first time, and then I didn't touch it again for like years.
There's games that I consider to be kind of evergreen games that I do play constantly, Tetris, Street Fighter, stuff like that. Like, but that's not,
Do you go back to the old Street Fighters or?
Yeah, for sure. Not real frequently, but like Alpha 3, every couple years I go back to that. That's my favorite fighting game of all time.
Yeah.
And like I'm still playing Game Boy Tetris, here or there.
Is Alpha the one where you can parry?
Well, Third Strike.
That's what I'm
three in
thinking.
general had parry.
Okay.
But I think the Alpha series has parry as well. I should know. I'm not positive.
I just remember
Alpha 3 has the World Tour mode, which has always been like my idea if I was to ever make a game, is kind of like what Alpha 3 does with World Tour, in that it's an RPG, like you're leveling your character.
Oh, okay.
Like through fights. And I always thought it would be cool to have like an RPG where it was like a straight up RPG, but the battles were a fighting game.
Okay. Because I remember it was a long time ago. It's like one of the most famous street fighting like memories, like moments where
Daigo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The parries.
that was Street Fighter 3.
That was Street Fighter 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that Street Fighter 5 there's like one character that can parry.
Yeah, there is one character who's what do they call it? V-skill is a parry.
Yeah, I don't remember who it is, though.
I'm pretty sure it's Ryu.
Yeah. Tom, you seem very much, based on what I know about your taste, and I could be way off base here, but it seems very much like you really like games that there isn't really a completing the game. Like games that you kind of just play over and over again because there's no end to the game.
Well, like Monkey Ball.
Yeah.
There's an end to Monkey Ball, right? There is a finite level of levels in Monkey Ball,
Yeah.
but I'll still play that over and over again. I think I just like. I mean, I like story heavy games and stuff like that, but I do also like very like you say, video games.
Yeah.
Like I like a lot of those.
Yeah. Like I
even like Mega Man. There's a story to Mega Man.
Sure.
It's not really that important, Like
Yeah.
it's not anything real fascinating.
Yeah, but Mega Man is also short enough to where you could kind of just go right back through it again.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I really like those games where I have that feeling, and it doesn't happen often. It does happen really often with choice-driven games, like for example, with Fable or the more recent Fallout games. I always do the good guy playthrough, and then my dessert, as you would call it, is, or as I would call it, I don't think anybody else would call it that, is going back through as a bad guy.
Well, when a game has that, like Infamous, right? I'll do that. I'll play it twice.
Yeah.
But that's usually to get all the trophies or whatever,
Yeah. And I don't know. It's just
because like if you played Second Son doing the bad playthrough,
I
like
don't
the
know.
cutscenes don't really seem to make sense anymore.
I don't know, because I went
like-
back through. I tried going back through Infamous as a bad guy, and I was like, man, some of this shit's making me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I think like Delson becomes like I mean, he's already a douchebag, but
Yeah.
he becomes like an evil douchebag.
Brian Altano said that game. The story of that game is about getting rocks out of your grandma's legs.
what is it, that thing that lady says? Is it
Augustine? Yeah.
Like I heard that's.
I'm told that hurts.
I'm told that hurts. Yeah.
Still one of my favorite villains. Like that game was not like the story was not great, but great villain though.
Yeah, you don't see a lot of those.
Yeah.
Well, not lately anyway.
I think it's really funny that you do good guy first. I always do bad guy first.
Oh, do you?
Really?
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because
I just feel like the good guy is like the canon playthrough, right?
Yeah.
Like that's how they want you to play it. They don't say that's how they want you to.
but it's implied.
It's your
right?
choice. You play however you want. Become
Yeah.
the person you want to be and all
Yeah.
that shit.
Yeah.
Fuck you. The story is written for the good guy,
Yeah.
so I'll play it that way first.
I remember playing through Fallout 3. I did my good guy playthrough, and as you're playing the game, one of the radio stations and loosely chronicles your adventure. And it's when you're playing as a good guy, they're like, "Hey, everybody, give it up for that guy."
Yeah.
And then it's like, "Yeah, feeling pretty good." But then I played through as a bad guy, and he kept saying like really bad shit, and
Dude,
like
fuck that dude.
well, like it got to the point where like I actually started feeling like really bad about what I was doing, and I was just like, this isn't fun because I'm just feeling guilty this entire time.
You didn't blow up Megaton?
Oh, I blew it the fuck up.
I just feel like player agency in games is usually like
It's kind
they
of
say it's there, but
it's
it's not
simulated,
really.
really.
You know,
Yeah.
like I don't know.
because like you said, like they obviously have a framework in mind,
Yeah.
right? Like they
Well, it's like The Walking Dead, right? You've got a fuck ton of choices, but you're always going to get to the same point.
Right.
Everybody that plays that game, it's going to end the same for everybody.
yeah.
You know?
There's a, well, it's not a Viner anymore. I think he does most of his stuff on YouTube. But he did a joke about that where there's 3 choices.
Yeah.
And each choice had the same like ending.
Yeah.
And it was like, I don't know. It was like really quick, little 15-second thing, but that made me laugh. I
You're
was
right,
just
and
like,
and if there are multiple endings, oftentimes, like I said with Infamous, like it doesn't seem to fit well. You know, it seems like there is a way that they want you to play that game,
Right.
But
Yeah, I never made it to the end of my bad boy Infamous.
for Second Son,
Yeah. And I remember trying it with the first Infamous game.
I mean,
But-
I kind of forgive it more with games like Infamous, just because like it takes a long time to play Fallout once.
Yeah.
If you're gonna play it twice, that's a heavy investment, you know.
Sure.
Infamous is short; like you can play that twice in 2 days.
Yeah.
You know.
well, that's why you cheat. With the last Fallout, I did the normal playthrough as my bad guy.
Right.
Done that. The second time, because I'm playing on PC.
You had multiple saves or what?
Well, no, I just did console commands. So like every weapon, everything that I needed, I just grabbed it and then
Yeah.
just like went through because I was like, I'm not gonna fucking spend time. I already know
Sure.
how to do all this.
Sure.
That makes it a lot quicker.
Now there are games though, like for example, Elder Scrolls, like especially with Skyrim, like they give you the idea that you can be a good guy or you can be a bad guy, but there's no consistency. Like there's no persistence to that world, right? Like,
Okay.
Like if you do evil guy shit, people are gonna forget about it.
Okay.
Like if you go into a town and murder someone, like the guards are gonna come up to you and they're gonna arrest you. You're gonna do your jail time. You're gonna get out of jail. That dead
But then
body,
yeah.
dead body's still gonna be in the street, and everybody's gonna be cool with you again.
Yeah.
So the impact is largely lessened there,
It
but
just becomes an inconvenience, and that's about it.
yeah,
But
yeah,
it'd be kind of hard to play a video game like that. Like half the time you get a quest from, especially games like that, you get them from somebody, and if they didn't like
Yeah.
you, then you're like, oh fuck, well, game over.
yeah. And so I don't know.
Like I think BioWare does it well. Like most of their most of their teams do it well.
Yeah.
Like with Dragon Age and all that. Like, I'm not saying your choices matter significantly, but there are things that you will see
Sure.
if you play a certain way that you will not see at all. That will be completely gone if you play another way. You know?
Right. And I do like what they do with their various franchises, like where choices you made in Mass Effect 1 carry over to Mass Effect 2, same thing with Dragon Age, things like that. I've always really liked that because it feels like, hey, I'm kind of in the continuity. My
Yeah.
character is like super canon, right? But it's cool to see stuff like that. But again, Mass Effect, like Fallout, is those are long games.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the idea of, I say that though, but I do remember playing Mass Effect 1 and going through it, did my good boy playthrough, and then I went back through, did my bad girl playthrough.
Ooh.
Yeah, and it's just fun to see like the different outcomes, and it's funny because that very obvious drawing is there, right? Where I'm gonna go back through and see what the game is like when I make these choices,
Yeah.
right?
Uh-huh.
Whereas with a game like Splinter Cell, it's gonna be the same.
Right.
Like the story's gonna remain the same the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
Like regardless of if I'm on playthrough 1 or playthrough 10, everything's gonna happen the same way.
Well, I didn't mean to like derail it into a conversation about player agency,
No, it's
but like
it's
you know.
good because those kind of games though they do lend themselves to like
Yeah.
replay value, right?
I mean, yeah, to an extent, if it's done well, yeah.
Yeah. Because obviously,
Like they tried it with The Walking Dead season 2, right? Where
Yeah.
like you could or
400
with
days.
400 days, right?
Yeah.
It would carry over, your saves carry over, and like some of those characters would appear in season 2, but like none of those characters really matter that much in season 2, so like who cares?
Yeah.
You know? Like they're there. The character model is there,
Yeah.
you know.
And
Big
they have
deal.
they have a few lines in season 2.
Yeah.
And,
But-
they're not people that you can really care about either,
Yeah.
right? So,
But I like more subtle like choices. Like I think it was BioShock 2 where
Yeah.
you got to choose either whether to save the little sisters or you got to harvest
right,
them.
right.
And
That's in the first one as
that
well.
was
Is it?
BioShock
Okay.
1.
All right.
Yeah.
Is it not in both?
I don't believe so, but it's been a while since I played 2.
Yeah.
So-
But I like that. Like it doesn't change
Yeah.
the main story that well. It changes
Right.
your ending,
Right.
but like I prefer more along those lines because
I bet you fucking harvested them all.
yeah, that first
Yeah.
run through, hell yeah.
I don't
I
remember.
needed my power and I needed it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, BioShock 1. What a fantastic fucking game.
Pretty great.
So also, when I was buying the game Nuclear Throne, I was looking at, like when I was getting ready to do this week's Check It Out, I was looking at what platforms the game had released on, and then I bought the game and it showed me that it was cross buy for PS4 and Vita,
Mm-hmm.
and then I started thinking about something else, about how every time I see that like a new game has been announced for Vita, or that something's coming to this and Vita or whatever,
Right.
then immediately follows is someone saying, and they said the Vita was dead.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, it's interesting. Sony has a habit of, I shouldn't say supporting, but continuing to allow games to be published on their platforms for long periods of time.
Right.
We talked about it. It was only maybe 2 years ago that the last PS2 game came out.
yeah.
A new PSP game came out this year. Like, there will be new Vita games for a long time.
Yeah.
They won't be popular here in the States, but it will happen, you
Yeah.
know?
And so, Tom, how successful would you say the Vita was?
I mean, it was kind of a failure.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I don't know. It does well in Japan. Still, surprisingly, but like,
Were there more geared toward portable games?
right. But like, as far as here in the States, yeah, it was laughable.
Yeah. And you've said it many times that can largely be attributed to their persistence on relying on that proprietary memory.
Yeah, and they've seemed to have wisened up on that. Like PS3 and PS4 both just take standard laptop hard drives,
Sure.
which is good. Like 360, right? 360 had its own proprietary hard drive and all that shit. I don't know. I don't see them doing a handheld again. And I see all these people posting that PlayStation Switch lookalike console,
Right.
and nobody is posting it from a reputable source.
Sure. Why would they?
Like, yeah, they made that patent. That doesn't mean it's happening.
Sure.
You know,
So let's suppose.
I'm not
Okay.
saying it's not gonna happen, but I very much doubt it.
Okay. So let's say that they confirmed it this year. Let's just say that.
Okay, Geo Corsi comes out
Geo
because
Corsi-
that's who it'll be.
Yeah. Gio Corsi comes out.
Yeah.
He says, guess what? The PlayStation Vita, let's just say Vita 2 working title,
Sure.
confirmed, announced, right? What would you say would take for that to be actually take off?
I honestly don't think it would take much. I don't think a lot of people expected the Switch to take off the way that it has.
Yeah.
Top selling console 2 months in a row, right? And yeah, it's a new console. It's kind of to be expected. But fuck, what was the game? It was a game that was already out. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Yeah.
Top selling game for March. What month are we in? May. Top selling game for April.
Yeah.
And NPD, the way NPD's cutoff works, it was only on sale for 2 days and still sold better than all the other games released that month.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
So it's doing very well. The Switch is doing quite well. With the install base of PlayStation 4 being at about 50 million and the ability to use remote play, which works quite well outside of a lack of full controls, which you would assume the new console would have full controls.
Yeah.
As long as they don't do proprietary memory, I think it would do quite well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that a lot of people would expect them to kind of take follow Nintendo's lead with that, right? As far as the parity between home and portable offerings, right? But at the same time, I don't really feel like I don't know that there would necessarily be a place for that outside of just revamping the remote play and getting developers to kind of want to buy into actually making a good control scheme for that.
I think remote play is a big deal. I think the reason it failed on Vita is one, because a lack of 2 sets of shoulder buttons and a lack of clickable thumbsticks, right? So not all games felt right with remote play. That, and it was promised to work well with PlayStation 3, and it did not work well with PlayStation 3.
Yeah.
Worked really good with PS4, but that's it. I don't know. I think that's a big deal for a lot of people. If you could turn on your PlayStation from wherever you're at,
and just I guess, would you be
Play.
streaming it?
Yeah, technically, yeah, you're playing over, Wi-Fi or whatever.
Yeah.
But it works well. It's not laggy.
Yeah.
It works well. It's better than what is it? The PlayStation streaming service, PlayStation Now.
Yeah.
It's much better than that.
PlayStation Now is
It's much better than that.
not great.
Which is funny because I think they both run through Gaikai, but.
Berto, you ever mess with PlayStation Now before?
No.
You can do it on PC now.
Yeah.
Can you?
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind trying to maybe play Demon Souls. I've never played Demon Souls.
I wouldn't do that if I were you.
There's a good bit of lag.
Yeah.
Okay, then
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't fuck around with that. then.
You're looking at least maybe a second.
I was playing with a wired connection, Enslaved, Odyssey to the West, and that's not a game that requires precision input or anything like that, And I was not having a fun time with it. But
So
I
why
think
even continue to support that if it's?
They put a lot of money into it.
the acquisition of Gaikai was, I believe, over $1 million.
Yeah.
But I think the new handheld would work well. I think you'd have a lot of people accusing them of, they're doing this because the Switch was so successful, But we've talked about it before, this idea had been done back in the Genesis days.
Yeah.
You
ever play a Nomad?
the Nomad is
No.
the Switch, basically.
Yeah.
It played current gen games on the go. It played Genesis games on a handheld.
Yeah.
You could plug it into a TV and play on the full screen.
Yeah.
It was basically the Switch
Yeah.
back in the 90s.
Yeah.
What was the other handheld by? I think it was it Sega?
Game Gear?
Game Gear.
Game Gear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was good.
I liked it.
Yeah, it was okay.
but-
That was current gen, right?
Kinda.
I mean, it was not.
It was current gen in the way that Game Boy was current gen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of 3DS technically is current gen.
But
well,
at
I guess
the
now
same
it's last
time,
gen. I
at
don't
the
know.
same time, that was in a time where
But
those two things, portable and home consoles, were two completely separate ecosystems.
right.
So there wasn't a lot of they were part of two. They were each part of their own respective generations.
Okay. I just remember I think playing the same Sonic game on both, and so
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean that wouldn't be so.
I think the big problem with PlayStation doing a handheld is it would be too expensive, and
Yeah.
people would not want to pay that kind of money for it. Because right now you can buy a PlayStation 3 or an Xbox One normal MSRP for $300.
Yeah.
Right. Oftentimes on sale for $250 or less.
Yeah,
The Switch is $300. If Sony puts out a handheld of that caliber, I mean, shit, probably $350, $400, and at that point, why not just buy a PS4? You know,
Yeah.
unless they take a loss on it, but they've not done that in a long time.
Yeah. You will get a second job to buy a PS Vita.
Well, like it was very common back in the day for them to take, for all three to take a loss on hardware.
Sure.
It's not very common now.
In the PS3's first year, they lost about $14 billion.
Yeah.
Whew.
So.
And that was while charging what, $600 for it?
600, or there was a $600 model and a $700 model. So.
But like companies don't do that anymore. They don't take a loss on hardware anymore.
Yeah.
You know, so.
But at the same time, I've talked about it before, that, and which is what makes the Scorpio such an enigma to me, because I'm wondering how much are we gonna be expected to pay for this thing.
We're gonna find out in a couple weeks. I'm guessing $500.
Because I feel very much like as a group, people have decided how much they're willing to pay for these things.
Yeah.
And that's $400.
Yeah, and like, and how much are you expecting? Like, there comes a point where you have to ask the question: how much are you expecting $400 to buy you?
Well, and here's the thing, right? Like, if Scorpio comes out and it's $500, you could build a halfway decent gaming PC with that money.
Yeah. I think I saw something. I don't remember who put it out, but someone built a PC with Scorpio specs.
Yeah, that was, I think, GameSpot. Either them or Kotaku. I don't remember.
And I didn't actually see like how well it like.
I was gonna say,
ran
how
anything.
much did they spend on it?
Yeah, I didn't get the specifics.
I mean, that's the thing, though, right? Like, it is technically going to be the most powerful console ever. But what's the point if it's only going to be
Playing the same
games?
Yeah.
Now,
What is the point of that power? What is the point of having that power and paying for it if it's going to be playing the same games?
I'm also wondering.
Looking prettier is nice, you
Yeah,
know.
sure.
4K is nice, but like,
but
At the cost of
yeah,
replacing something you just bought
right,
yeah.
3
right.
years ago.
And is that the problem we're looking to address with video games?
I mean, I don't know. I just think, you know, what Phil Spencer comes out and when Phil Spencer comes out and says it's going to play the same games as your Xbox One, right? It's going to be the same library. I think that was a mistake, and I think they're going to go back on that. I think
Sure.
this will play games that the Xbox One won't play. Otherwise, what was the point?
So also now I'm wondering this too.
So is this a brand new generation then?
We're
Well,
beyond
that-
generations.
yeah. So
now.
Xbox is using the term beyond generations.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You have to now. You're relying on the power of the cloud.
So you're gonna be like you're playing your old game. It's gonna be backwards compatible.
Right.
guessing.
I'm assuming there's going to be backwards and forwards compatibility with Microsoft products going forward. But like, you know, between PS4 Pro and Scorpio, and then Nintendo deciding to constantly release mid-generation, like generations are kind of dead now, right?
Yeah.
Like,
And now I'm wondering this too.
when I say 8th gen, yeah, I'm referring to this and the Xbox One, and I guess Switch is in there, or is it Wii U? Like, I'm not sure, you know?
Yeah.
I would say Switch.
Yeah.
Now,
I mean, power-wise, yeah, I'd agree. I'd say
so
Switch,
if
but
let's say that for some reason they don't go back on what they said about the Scorpio,
yeah.
versus Scorpio, you know, alongside the Xbox One. So at that point, it kind of renders, I feel, Xbox One redundant, but then you have Play Anywhere, which I feel Play Anywhere makes Xbox itself redundant. Because if you can,
Yeah, well, that's exactly, like, I bought one for the kids, right? I bought
Yeah.
an Xbox One for my kids. I've no reason to buy myself one because now every Microsoft published game I can play on this.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
You know,
and if you want to,
and shit, the interface looks exactly the same as the
Yeah.
Xbox interface, which is not a great thing, but it's, you know, it's
yeah,
there
'cause
if
you're
you
not
want
gonna,
it.
You're not gonna buy. I mean, you're not really. I just don't feel like you're really gonna buy an Xbox so you can play multi-platform games on it.
Right.
That's if you're in possession of a capable PC.
I mean, if
and you've
all
already
my
got another
friends,
console in
if
the house-
if all of my friends were only playing on Xbox One, then yeah, I would to be
Sure.
able to play with my friends.
Sure.
But
but that's not
my
the
friends
case.
are kind of spread all over the place now.
Yeah.
You know, so.
And so I'm wondering, you know, what is the future of Xbox is an interesting thing to me right now, and I'm also wondering where PlayStation is going to go after the PS4 Pro. Like, is it?
They're doing fine. They're
No,
doing
I'm
real
not saying,
well.
I'm
Like,
not.
what's next?
Yeah, I'm not saying like what's going to happen to Sony. I know that they're fine, but
I think it's obvious that this generation is going to be shorter than the 7th.
yeah,
And a lot of people are sad and bitchy about that. But 7th generation was exceptionally long. Like, console generations typically are not that long.
yeah.
How long do they usually last? What would you say is the average?
Well, so a good example is like if Scorpio comes out, right? And if that is the next generation of console, it does play new games that Xbox One doesn't play. That's what, 4 years?
Yes.
And people are bitching about that. That's too short. That's the same amount of time as the original Xbox to 360.
Yeah, because the original Xbox came out in 01. No, it came out in 2000, I think. One of the two.
I don't
And
know.
the 360 came out in 2004.
The 360 came out within 5 years of the original Xbox. So,
And, for the past 3 decades, that was more common than 10-year life cycles for consoles, which I think, like,
They're just
that's-
going to be like phones. It's going to be a new generation.
A lot of people
every
are saying
year.
that. And, like, I think part of the value of buying a home console versus a PC is that, all your games are going to work on this for the foreseeable future, whether that's 5 years or 10 years or whatever it might be.
and I think that's what people.
And if
are-
that's taken away, that kind of devalues home
Console.
consoles even more.
Yeah.
At this point, I'm buying them for exclusives, like for games I really want to play, because I love Sony Studios. I love their first and second party lineup, and I want to play those games, and I can't play them on PC because Sony sold Vio. But, that's the only reason I have it at this point.
Yeah.
That and I like trophies.
Yeah.
But
You got
Now you get them on
You
Steam.
got those Steam achievements. Do you care
it's
about
not the
those?
same. Like, I know it literally is the same, but for some reason
Well,
it's
see,
not
it's
the
funny
same.
because back in last gen when I was playing when I had a 360 and a PS3, and man, I cared a shit ton about achievements.
Yeah.
Couldn't care less about trophies though.
I was really into 360, and I really was all about getting gamer score. I had the highest gamer score of my friends list
You
at
were
the time,
competitive about it.
and then I moved on to PlayStation, and my trophies are kind of out of control. Not compared to people like Corey, but like
Yeah.
my trophies are pretty fucking high, And then now with fucking Steam, like I've been on Steam for a bit, but like actually really getting into Steam, the trophies don't matter to me. It's all about the trading cards and raising that level. And that level is meaningless, but I want to raise that level.
But I do think it's cool that those cards like have a tangible benefit though.
They do, but like that level means nothing. It means I spent more money than my friends, and that's about it.
Have you passed me up already?
I'm like level 15 now, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
baller
I think
status.
I'm right at 15.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It seems very much like this whole the whole idea of console generations is, I think it made people comfortable. Like you were set on, I'm not gonna have to worry about buying a new thing for the next 5 years, and I'm just gonna be able to play every game that comes out for the next 5 years, not have to worry about anything.
Well, and it's changed too, like as time goes on, because like I remember when I was playing NES and Super Nintendo came out, right? And I buy my Super Nintendo. I didn't get rid of my NES.
Right.
I still kept it to play those games, and most of my friends were still that way. They kept their old consoles to play those too,
Yeah.
And now, besides like collectors, it's like, well, you move on to the next thing, right? You throw the 360 in the closet, or you throw the Wii U in the closet, and you never see it again.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
People, I don't know. People
I
still
don't
go
know.
crazy over buying those old games, right? And
it would be nice. Like, it would be nice to have a console, like with the RAM on the N64, right?
yeah,
Like the little expansion bullshit.
yeah, you need it for perfect.
It would
art.
be nice to be able to do that with the PlayStation 4 and get a few more years out of it,
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. I just feel like at that point, they are kind of already like the architecture of what Mark Cerny did. What Mark Cerny did with the PlayStation 4, like, is already kind of mimicking a PC, and we all know that that's what Microsoft has done from the beginning, right? With DirectX and all that. That's where Xbox gets its name. So if they're just PCs, then let's just buy PCs, I guess. I don't know.
And of course, I don't know.
Is that going to be the breaking point when the consoles cost
the
as
same
much
amount.
as yeah?
Yeah,
I don't know,
because
because
that was
PCs do seem to be getting cheaper. Like as far as getting into a good gaming PC,
Like,
it
when it
does
gets-
seem to be less expensive
when it
now.
gets-
I'm seeing a lot more laptops pop up. I have a couple friends that
Yeah,
used to play, like had their own gaming consoles
Right.
and then sold it,
right.
and then they wanted to play PC games, and they found laptops that were relatively cheap that can
Right.
run everything.
Well, that's
Maybe
what I
not
did,
on-
and this was not cheap, but like what Nvidia's doing now with their graphics cards is like it used to be GTX 1060M. The M stood for mobile, right?
Yeah.
So it was a 1060, but really it was more like a 970 or something like that, you know. Now it's like, no, you're getting the same desktop grade graphics card in your laptop, you know. And I think that's a big improvement, and that shit keeps getting cheaper and cheaper.
And it's going to get smaller and smaller.
It's going to get smaller and smaller, right?
You'll probably have probably next 10 years you'll have the same graphics card that I have on my computer in your actual laptop.
Right.
Like I feel like there is a ceiling on how much you can charge for a console especially when you're comparing performance versus a PC, because if like you were saying, if the price difference becomes so negligible that I might as well get a PC, then what happens to consoles at that point?
I mean, I'll still buy them if the developers I like are still making games exclusive to them.
Right.
But I don't think that the vast majority of people will feel the same way.
Yeah.
The average guy who wants to play Call of Duty or Madden every year, and that's the one game they buy every year, if it's just as cheap for them to buy a PC, which, mind you, can do much more than just play games,
Right.
What's the point?
And I think that one of the things that consoles have to bank on is, one, they're less expensive for now, and two, you don't have to worry about hardware requirements or anything like that, because it's so plug and play.
But we can't make this show on a PS4.
Yeah.
I guess technically we could. It would be a lot shittier, but yeah.
And then they very much like consoles now. Like, think about consoles now versus consoles 2 generations ago.
Yeah.
PS2 and Xbox, and they were very much just video game machines. Well, they were video game machines / DVD players.
Right.
And then now they're kind of marketed as these all-in-one entertainment boxes, right?
But we found them stepping away from that. That's where Xbox shot themselves in the foot.
With that TV
People
stuff,
didn't
right?
want that. People don't care about, you want Netflix on your thing, right?
Yeah.
Which kind of sucks that the Switch doesn't have Netflix on it yet.
Yeah.
But, other than that, who's browsing the fucking web on their PlayStation? Somebody is, sure, but the majority of people are
not
not.
enough
Yeah, all
people
you
to
need is
warrant the
this.
inclusion of
Right.
it.
I'm not going to
Yeah.
hop on my PS4 to get onto Facebook or whatever, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
No one cares.
I remember they were trying Facebook for a while with Xbox.
Yeah.
My TV has Facebook on it.
Yeah. And you probably don't even use that.
No, because why would I?
Yeah.
But it's funny because, again, they're marketing these things as these all-in-one entertainment boxes. Like, you got your Netflix, you got your Hulu, and all that stuff. But
Crackle.
you got Crackle. Berto, if you haven't seen the Dead Rising movies,
Exclusive to Crackle.
exclusive to Crackle. Have you seen Joe Dirt 2?
No.
Exclusive to Crackle. Okay.
I haven't heard good things about it, though.
This video brought to you by Crackle.
But I can do all those things outside of my console. I can do those things.
But here's the thing. You can do those on your console, right?
Yeah.
You would not do them on your console. You probably would do some of those on your PC.
Right. That's
You
what
know?
I'm saying. I can do them outside of my console.
Yeah.
I can do, if I want to watch Netflix, it's very.
That, and we've learned with consoles, especially this generation, but even last generation too, there's no reason why we should not be able to play these games with mouse and keyboard.
Right.
Yeah.
But 2 or 3 of them let you, and that's about it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I don't understand. I don't understand the reasoning behind that, but
But everyone's Microsoft's in a bad place, and you have to remember, Xbox One is still well outselling 360 at this point.
yeah.
Just much more people are buying games now, so they seem to be behind.
Yeah.
And 2, Microsoft doesn't die with Xbox.
No.
They have
No.
Windows,
Yeah.
Yeah.
they'll be just fine
Yeah.
even without it.
Every computer
Yeah.
that's not running on,
Right. Linux or fucking
Yeah. which is most of them.
Yeah.
I'm sure, for whatever reason, if they had to close down their gaming
Right.
division, Microsoft
They're
is not
just
gonna,
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And isn't
And Sony, other than Sony's pictures is going down and down and down.
yeah.
Thank God.
They've
Sell Spider-Man.
Their Bravia sales are lacking. I think they've stopped selling Bravia or manufacturing them. Vio is gone. They sold Vio.
Yeah.
The PlayStation 4 is what's making the majority of Sony's money right
Nobody
now.
buys Discmans anymore.
And then Nintendo, Nintendo, I guess you can sell a lot of fucking merch, you know, but outside of that,
They
you've
have
got your
theme
games.
parks.
Well, they will have theme parks.
Yeah.
I think that's about 4 years off.
What do you?
But-
Do you think that we'll see a future where Nintendo is licensing out their franchises.
No.
No?
No. They're too stubborn, man.
Yeah.
They're gonna be
They're
the
too
next
stubborn.
Disney.
Like
They're gonna start branching out into not just video games but theme parks.
Or Nintendo or Disney buys Nintendo. I could see that, but like Nintendo has so much money that they could put out failure after failure for many generations before they go the way of Sega.
yeah.
Like they can fail many times over. I'm sure they don't want to,
I feel like
but they can afford to.
like with
They've lasted. They've been around longer than any of these companies.
yeah.
Yeah.
I like Sega right now.
I like Sega right now, except for Sonic.
Yeah.
I'm excited for Sonic Mania,
Mm.
but
Is Knuckles still a huge dude, bro?
no, Sonic Boom is dead. I believe.
Okay,
I believe.
that's not
But
canon.
that new Sonic game lets you make your own Sonic
So
now.
she can make Knuckles
is
2.0.
kind of
There you
weird.
go.
I can see that because then they
Yeah.
started coming out like Shadow and like all the other hedgehog-looking things.
But like, I heard about this on another podcast this week. But like, I couldn't imagine like playing like a new Mario, and it's like create a character. It's kind of weird,
Yeah.
And like Sonic, while it hasn't aged as well as Mario,
I was gonna say I think that also deals with
yeah,
aging.
yeah.
Um.
I guess Sonic fans really want to make their own animals,
Yeah.
There's a huge furry crowd out there.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah. I feel like
I'm
a lot
sure
of.
that's right up
You can
your
make a
alley.
duck.
Has there ever
You
been
make a weasel?
Has there ever been
I don't
a
know.
duck
That's my
in
favorite animal.
Sonic?
There was a bat once.
Yeah. Rouge
Yeah,
was her name.
and a chameleon.
I don't remember the chameleon's name. But
I think that's a good way to go with that. I mean, it sucks for
Yeah.
the traditional Sonic fans. Like, I understand why they're upset.
And it looks like Generations, and I liked Generations. Like that
Yeah.
game did well, but
But I just feel like every time they've tried to do any kind of variation on Sonic, it was just bad.
that BioWare RPG is apparently pretty good.
It is pretty good. DS,
Yeah,
original DS. So, yeah, I don't know. I like Sega right now. I meant to bring this up in the news. I don't know why I just blanked on it, but when they talked about, they're like, we're gonna bring back some IPs we haven't used in a while, and I don't know, like
Streets of Rage confirmed.
that'd be cool.
Vector Man VR.
Okay.
Echo the Dolphin.
I want another Earthworm Jim game.
Well, that wasn't Sega though.
Wasn't it?
It was exclusive to Sega consoles until
That was Interplay.
yeah,
Okay.
like there was an Earthworm Jim 64. I remember that.
Really?
Yeah.
That's the only one I remember is the Sega one.
I mean, I'd like to see another Condemned. That would be really cool.
They're making all that Atlas money now.
Yeah, like they're making a lot of money with
Persona.
and they're gonna be making even more money when they put out Vanquish again.
Yeah.
So making a lot of money. I'm sure they made a shitload of money when they re-released Bayonetta.
Well, what's funny is a lot of people assume that Bayonetta was the litmus test to see whether they would put Vanquish out again, but like that was too fast for them to port it. Like they already had it ready.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
You don't port a game that quickly.
Sure. But yeah, I'd like to
Not
see.
to mention, like with both of those are apparently the best versions of those games.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't doubt that.
Yeah.
Like both games running at 60 frames.
Yeah.
Berto, you played a lot of. At one point, you played a lot of Overwatch. I don't know if you still do.
Yeah, I haven't been playing as much since I picked up PUBG.
Yeah. Like, as 'cause you play a lot of shooters, and I don't play shooters the way that I used to,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know if I'm the kind of person who cares enough about it for it to make a difference. But so I noticed earlier on Facebook, I think it was you you were talking about Destiny 2. Was it you talking about how you're excited to play it on PC?
I don't know. Maybe it was me. I was talking about it either on our Discord channel or Facebook. It might have been me.
Yeah. Now, one of the things that I've been seeing a lot of is that when Destiny 2 comes out, because they said that it's not going to run at 60 frames on Scorpio.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, they said it's not gonna run at 60 frames on
Not enough
Scorpio.
teraflops.
I guess they don't have enough flops, man. Presumably going to run at 60 on PC. Um, how big of a difference is that in shooter terms? Because I don't know that I really know. I guess I don't know like enough.
It's a big difference.
Yeah.
And I find that this is really funny because I played a lot of Destiny 1. Like I played the shit out of it.
Yeah.
I was at the point where like I was doing all the raids, all 3 different characters, and I got through all the like content before like expansions. I stopped at the Wolves one just because they were taking too long to put out stuff for me.
Yeah.
But so I switched over to Fallout at the time once I got tired of it, and so playing like a game for I put like 60 hours into Fallout, all at 60 FPS, and then I went back to Destiny, and it was a huge difference.
Yeah.
Like,
Because Destiny 1 didn't come out on PC, I remember.
No.
Yeah.
But it's like with fighting games, like identifying frames and frame counting and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's a bit different in that, like, well, at least 2D fighters are not animated to that point, right? Like they're at 30 frames a second, you are still seeing every single frame of animation. Whereas with a shooter where there is more free movement, I don't know what the right term for it is. Like with something like Guilty Gear, right? There are only so many frames of animation for you to see.
Right.
Not the newest Guilty Gear because that is technically 3D.
Yeah.
But previous ones, or Blaze Blue even, Skullgirls, any of
3D
those.
in the way that the new Mortal Kombat are 3D.
Well, yeah, the new Guilty Gear, Xrd and Revelator and all that, like it looks like a 2D character model, but that is actually a 3D model.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Which is fucking mind blowing when you look at it.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, like identifying frames of like something like Street Fighter 2 or Darkstalkers or whatever, there are only so many frames in that animation. So whether it's 30 frames or 60 frames, it doesn't really matter. Whereas something like Call of Duty or Overwatch or something like that, where it is solid movement and not individual frames of animation, it's definitely more significant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
Which
a
is why with
reason-
fighting game like Evo, you're typically seeing people playing on 360 or fucking PS4 or whatever, you know.
There's a reason why PlayStation 4 and Xbox One have any shooter they have. There's some form of auto aim.
Yeah.
So
Right.
you get over there.
Even
and
Killing
it'll
Floor,
snap.
like with us playing Killing Floor, there is a little bit of a snap.
Yeah.
Whereas in PC, there's none.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like play a shooter on his laptop with a controller, and you'll be like, why I
Right.
can do this fine playing Killing Floor on there, but when you're playing
Right.
it on PC, it's a whole different experience.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I really because there was a comparison that Tom like had asked me to make like really quickly is like because I had played Super Hot a little bit on Xbox and we played quite a bit last night and he was like, so how does it compare like on Xbox? I was like, it's actually more difficult on Xbox because like
Because here you're just pointing a mouse,
Yeah.
right? Anybody can point a mouse at what they want to point at.
yeah.
Whereas using an analog stick, I mean, sometimes for certain games I do think it's better,
Yeah.
but for first-person shooters it's not.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah, so
I mean, I play Dark Souls with a controller, but I
Yeah.
mean, you really don't
Right.
need a mouse and keyboard for that.
they are gonna put that that frame counter for all the good that does you on the Scorpio.
We don't know that for a fact. It's on the SDK, but
Actually, yeah, I shouldn't. I misspoke.
Really?
But
I guess so
the
you can see-
SDK has like a little LCD panel that will show like temperature, frames, and like
see, temperature.
random animations like dolphins swimming across it and shit like
temperature
that.
would be good information to have, but like people have said that they want. I should have said that. People have said that they would like to have the frames counter on there.
But why if you can't change it?
That's what I'm saying. It's like what good does that information do for you? Do you? Because you can't
Yeah.
change.
And we're
any
making
of
a
that.
lot of assumptions. Like maybe you can change it.
Sure.
You know.
I
But
'cause, like thinking about it, like don't really know anything about the
Yeah.
Scorpio, so
Mhm.
like maybe, like because there had also been speculation that maybe these things are more maybe moving forward consoles will be more modular and
you're right.
and we can.
I just
upgrade
know
certain
that like
components.
if
That would be
Xbox
cool.
if Xbox Play Anywhere does not go away, there's literally no reason for me to buy it
yeah
because I will then be able to play all of those games on this
yeah
and it will perform better.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I mean, because at that point you've got Xbox games plus the thousands of other games.
Which is why I say Play Anywhere was a bad idea.
Yeah.
It's a very consumer friendly idea,
Sure.
but it is not good for sales.
Yeah.
You know.
I don't know. We'll see. But that's our time for this week. Berto, thanks for filling in this week.
Of course.
It's always a really good time when you show up. Tom,
Yes, sir.
you're just great.
I'm all right.
You're better than all right.
Berto, just sometimes tell Shanee not to come. You just come in her place.
Yeah.
I'll let her know that.
Yeah.
Don't tell her I said that.
Yeah. Don't wait. This is we got this on tape.
She doesn't watch these.
That is true. That is true. She doesn't watch it. But this has been the Save Continued podcast. My name is Ryan Robinson. Tom Shelby.
Bye-bye.
Alberto Aranda.
Later.
Thanks again for watching.